It's now time to take a look at news stories making headlines around the globe. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has limited the number of companies involved in the importation of milk, its derivatives and dairy products to 6. The companies are Friesland Capina, Wamco Nigeria, Chi Limited, CG Arla Dairy Products Limited, Promisador Nigeria Limited, Nestle Nigeria PLC, and Integrated Dairies Limited. It listed the companies in a circular titled Milk and Dairy Products Importation, dated February 11, 2020, signed by the Director, Trade and Exchange Department, Dr. Ozuemena Inaji, which unfolded the new policy. The new policy brings to an end the old regime under which the importation of milk was an all-comers affair. The circular explained that the move was part of efforts to increase local production of milk, its derivatives, and dairy products. Well, anything that boosts local production also boosts economic development, boosts employment, hopefully, and it conserves foreign exchange, which is all great. So I think this is a good move from the CBN.
Well, this matter came to public attention first in July 2019, when shortly after the president directed the CBN to restrict access to Forex for about 43 goods, including rice, tomato, and starch, and then a whole lot of others, on the grounds that these were items in which Nigeria, was already self-sufficient, and that in order to boost local production, build local capacity, create jobs, encourage backward integration, and conserve foreign exchange, those goods should not be allowed, to be access to Forex should not be allowed. And in July, the CBN governor then made the point that, look, very soon milk will also be added to the list of items to be restricted in terms of access to Forex. And then the CBN proceeded to hold meetings, I think about 3 meetings, with milk companies in the country. And eventually in August, the CBN directed the commercial banks not to collect bills for collections as a mode of payment from these milk producing companies, but to restrict them to letters of credit. And of course, the whole thing became very controversial, with the CBN being accused by the operators of trying to coerce them into changing their business model. 2 concerns were raised about the social economic tension that this could raise, in the sense that they were saying, look, if you want to get cattle, you are talking about backward integration. The CBN was advising those milk companies to set up ranches. And they were saying that, look, if we set up ranches, this will further exacerbate the problem of farmers and herders clash in the country, and that it's not convenient for them to go and set up ranches in locations that do not fit into their company strategies. 4, they also complained that, look, restricting access to Forex for milk and other dairy products could encourage smuggling, and that at the end of the day, the whole idea will be counterproductive.
So we should continue to spend 1.2 billion to 1.5 billion a year importing milk?
Well, I'm just trying to paint the picture. What you have given now is the justification provided by both the Ministry of Agriculture at the time, led by Audu Ogbe, and the CBN. And, the CBN said we will need to conserve foreign exchange because what we were doing was wasteful and was not sustainable.
Extremely.
The other argument that they brought up is that, look, if you have ranches in Nigeria, then, of course, you can, encourage a lot, create more jobs, build capacity. But the operators said that, the average cow in Nigeria produces less than 1 liter of milk in a day. But that in other parts of the world, 1 cow alone can produce up to about 100 liters. So these were the arguments back and forth, and now this policy has been put in place because the CBN insisted at the time that, the matter was being politicized by very powerful interests, and that it was not a ban, it was a restriction of access to Forex. That was their position. But, the other argument, of course, is whether, this will work in the long run or not. Now, we're faced with it, a fait accompli. But the question you will ask is that why these 6 companies that have been selected?
That's what I was actually wondering.
The explanation that has been given is that these 6 companies have been very cooperative and they have taken steps to do backward integration. But what the operators want is a situation whereby every milk company, will have access to 5% import duty that is existing on dairy products and access to Forex. But unless you try it, you won't know. What we can say is that, CBN has shown courage in matching monetary policy with fiscal policy. Some people may argue that why are you using monetary policy to control what is actually fiscal policy? But that's an argument for the economists to worry about. So we are faced with this fait accompli. We'll see how it works out. And we hope that after a while, the CBN will measure in the short term, the medium term, and the long term, what the effect is, both on industry and the market generally.
I think this is a good move from the CBN, at least to try it out and see how it works. This is what they've been pushing for and yearning for. So it's definitely a good move. What I would say as well is if we're in a situation where our cows can only produce on average 1 litre of milk per cow, then surely what we need to be doing is also looking into how we can get our cows to produce 100 litres of milk per cow, rather than posing it as an argument against, creation of ranches. What do you think?
Well, the CBN is saying, look, if you continue to import from outside, you will be wasting resources.
Yes.
The CBN even went as far as saying that, look, we've been producing milk and importing dairy products in this country for over 60 years.
Yeah.
And it's about time, that these companies began to think out of the box. Let's see whether it will work or not.
Fingers crossed. Now then, the new coronavirus, COVID-19, is a very grave threat to the rest of the world, according to the World Health Organization Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus. Tedros made the comments at a special meeting yesterday. WHO is convening 400 independent experts in a 2-day meeting to try to speed up the development of tests, treatments and vaccines against the new coronavirus as doctors on the front lines experiment on patients with various drugs in the hope of saving lives in the meantime. There are no proven treatments or vaccines for the still mysterious virus, which has infected more than 43,000 people worldwide and killed over 1,000, with the overwhelming majority of cases in China.
With 99% of cases in China, this remains very much an emergency for that country, but one that holds a very grave threat for the rest. Unless we use the window of opportunity that we have now. It's hard to believe that just 2 months ago, this virus, which has come to captivate the attention of media, financial markets, and political leaders, was completely unknown to us. This outbreak is testing us in many ways. It's a test of political solidarity, whether the world can come together to fight a common enemy that does not respect borders or ideologies. It's a test of financial solidarity, whether the world will invest now in fighting this outbreak or pay more later to deal with its consequences. And it's a test of scientific solidarity. Will the world come together to find shared answers to shared problems? We hope that one of the outcomes of this meeting will be an agreed roadmap for research around which researchers and donors will align. The bottom line is solidarity, solidarity, solidarity.
That's all on the news headlines.